King Productions presents the BearDown Corner with your host, Sergeant Cornholio. Hey everybody, it's the BearDown Corner. I'm your host, Sergeant Cornholio. This week we got some news, signings, and some stories for you. So let's just dive right into it. Football is back. Hall of Fame game, baby. It went down. The Chargers won 31-7. You know what, though? That don't matter, because I read an interesting fact the other week. The winner of the Hall of Fame game that have gone on to, make the playoffs, right? The winners of those games, they're 0-8 when winning the Hall of Fame game. So here's the deal. If the Chargers make playoffs this year and they lose, they will now become the 9th team on that list. I don't have the list, unfortunately. It was just a interesting football fact that came across, and I know of a couple teams that did it like that, but you know what? I like that. That's interesting. Hall of Famers though, Jared Allen, former Minnesota Viking, Chicago Bear, amongst a couple other teams. I think he played with the Panthers for a little while too there near the end. He is now a Hall of Famer. I'm so happy for the Fu Manchu man. That man was a beast. He was a fucking little overdrive machine every time that ball snapped. I loved watching him when he was with the Chiefs, and then he went to Minnesota. He came to Chicago near the end. Just a hell of a player. Congratulations, Jared Allen. Sterling Sharp, wide receiver of the Green Bay Packers. This one, when I first heard it announced, honestly, I was like, good on you. Good on you. I hate that you're a Packer, but honestly, if you look at how the Hall of Fame is set up these days, okay, it's not necessarily the overall stats. It's taken in the time and era and were you the most dominant player at your position. And for Sterling Sharp, he was. He was the last Triple Crown winner to not make the playoffs prior to Jamar Chase this last season. And also he didn't have a Joe Burrow at quarterback either. He had, I don't even know the quarterback, because that was before Brett Favre. He had that in the 93 season. I think Favre came along 94, 95, and then that's when they won the Super Bowl in 96. Damn, man. He was a hell of a player too. He was a tough son bitch, just like his brother when he played tight end. But anyway, DB Eric Allen finally gets his recognition going into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember a whole lot of Eric Allen other than I knew he was part of. So every year, I think it's a minimum, of 3 current day players that can be selected. And then there's the category of one, veteran guy that's been in there a long time. I think you got to be 15 plus years of being passed over to qualify in that category. But he took this year's slot in there. So Antonio Gates though, oh boy, I remember watching this man play. He reinvented the tight end position. He took what Kellen Winslow, not Junior, Kellen Winslow, tight end of the 80s for the Chargers, all right, when they were in San Diego. Plus, Gates was there when they were in San Diego. They didn't move to the LA until just the last few years back. But for Gates, though, he took what the tight end position could be and made it even better. And this was from an undrafted basketball college hoops kid. He didn't even play major professional until he came into the NFL. I think he had 1 season or 2 seasons in college, but majority of it, he was supposed to be the next NBA star, but he wasn't. He decided to make the transition, came in as an undrafted free agent, and ended up top 5, 10 in tight end categories for catching, yards, touchdowns, all of it. And he had Phillip Rivers to thank for that, and he did that. They both had their tier moment. They both had their acknowledgement to each other. Both great players in their own right. So no, Antonio Gates deserves to be there, just as Tony Gonzalez and any of the other great tight ends, right? Rob Gronkowski's going to get in there, right? He's going to be. They were dominant at their position in that time and era. So you're starting to see all those guys, like guys I watched and remembered at the height when I started really like balls deep into NFL, right? Like I myself didn't break into watching NFL until like 95 or so, right? So I kind of learned all the history and have been watching since. But these are guys from an era of absolute dominance. It was ridiculous. But moving past the Hall of Fame game into some news. Broncos signed defensive lineman Zach Allen. That is huge, to a 4-year, $102 million extension with $69.5 in guaranteed. If I'm a Broncos fan, man, I'm licking my lips right now. That is a disruptive, destructive, and devastating fucking lineman in the NFL. He's a top 5 in the whole league. Or maybe even talks for tops. It depends on who you're talking against, right? Like, I'll say straight up, I think Zach Allen is a hell of a lot more disruptive than fucking Montez Sweat, right? Like, contract reflects that too. Plus, they're locking him in to the prime of his career. When he's just getting going, he's been on, like, stupid mode. Now he's going to know, like, hey, I can slow down. And I can get the same numbers? Amen. That's what Zach Allen is thinking right now. So, congratulations to the linemen. The Broncos have locked up a key piece of their defense moving forward as they pursue possible championships. Keenan Allen visited the Los Angeles Chargers for a possible reunion, I think is in the works. So, they got Quentin Johnson and Ladd McConkey basically highlight the wide receiver group this year, right? They brought back Mike Williams, but he retired. So now Keenan Allen's coming in for a visit. But Keenan Allen did say last year, though, or earlier this year, I guess, after his contract expired from the Bears, that he would either return to the Bears or go to L.A. to play for the Chargers if he was to continue his playing career. He's 33 years old. He's a former / still elite route running, right? He never lost step on that. But I think he'd be a great fit. It'd be a great fit for him. He gets to finish off where he started, right? And he gets to be the veteran now, like the real veteran, to a group that need it. I like Ladd McConkey. I plan on trying to, snag him in wherever I can in fantasy this year. He is going to be a bona fide guy for this offense. He was liked last year in training camp. Hell, I drafted him last year late rounds because of the reporting I seen on this kid and him and Justin Herbert's relationship. It's that of a Cooper Kupp, and whether it was Stafford throwing the Kupp or even when Jared Goff was throwing the Cooper Kupp in his prime. There comes, every so often, you have a quarterback and a wide receiver combo, right? And when that magic is happening, that's what's happening right now for Ladd McConkey and Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert found his man in McConkey. So take that as you will, but that's what's going to make him so insatiable, right? But you can't do it with just one guy. You can't. You got to... you might not have a true number 2, but at least if you have a group of guys that can, at least make a catch here or there, then it takes the pressure off. Because otherwise, they're just going to be double-teamed all goddamn season. And that's what screws most second-year players after their breakout year, right? There's some tape on them. They can assess the situation. Now it's up to him to become better. But when you have double coverage on you every game, well, let's just be honest. Not everyone is a Calvin Johnson, all right? He was a super freak that would just throw guys off of him and catch the ball one-handed. He didn't give a shit. Terry McLaurin requests a trade after insignificant discussions, basically. all their contract discussions the wide receivers had with the Washington Commanders has been null and void. I don't think they actually truly appreciate, even at the age of 29, I get it, a contract extension is, you're going into your 30 years. So they don't want to pay him what he feels he should be paid, which is current market value. They want a discount because of the hometown. Hey, we finally got you a quarterback. Hey, you're going to be here for the long run, are you not? Right? They just think that it's just earned like that. No, McLaren earned his goddamn contract. He played for years without a goddamn quarterback to throw to him. And now you want to shaft the guy because he's actually wanting to be paid because he knows he's as talented as the rest of the wide receivers in the NFL? Commanders, fuck off. Just pay the guy and move on. I think you could do that with Jaden Daniels' rookie contract still in play, right? Give him a 3-year extension and assess it after that. That's all you got to do. All the contracts I'm seeing, whether it's extensions or new signings, they're all 3 to 4 year right now. Teams are not committing like they once were with these 6-7 year deals, and that's fine. I understand, but players still want to be paid. Yeah. So McLaren, he might go somewhere else. Maybe that's a discussion we do next week. We'll have a best landing possible spots for, Terry McLaren and Micah Parsons. He can be part of the segment because the Cowboys are fucking him over too. Let me tell you something. Jerry Jones, you dimensional old fuck. All right? I'm just breaking it simply down to that. You gone out of your comfort zone and hired Brian Schottenheimer as your head coach, right? You're giving a bunch of former first and second round picks a new start at life and to compete for starting jobs. Okay, I can be on board for that. It's thinking outside the box differently than he normally does. But come on. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, and I'm almost like bad taste in my mouth for this shit. Micah Parsons hasn't shown that he's some disgruntled fuck that's getting arrested. Right? I just finished almost 4 or 5 weeks of reporting of guys getting arrested every damn week for something stupid. He hasn't proved that bullshit. He's done nothing but go out and play his motor off to try and get your defense the top 10 every year and to hopefully help you guys win a Super Bowl. And yeah, it's been some shit seasons. No different than the Bears and no different than anyone else that's been on the losing end. There's only one Super Bowl winner at the end of the year. So many teams can make playoffs. We understand the way of the NFL. I don't have to say much more than that. But pay the fucking man. He's your defense. He's the pass rusher to make that play when you need that play made. Because there's crunch time and he is a clutch guy. But you can only be clutch so many times in a damn year without basically having to drain the tank. And that's what he's been being asked to do. The defense has been the same goddamn defense the last 3 years other than this year when they brought in not a bunch of big names, but just kind of giving guys a second chance. So, I don't know. I think he needs to sell. I just think Jerry Jones needs to just sell, be done with it, be over with it. He has lost his touch on football. He's stuck in this glory days of the 90s, and that apparently they're the hottest fucking ticket in all of town. And I'm not trying to say that against you Cowboys fans, because I have a lot of Cowboys fans as friends and family. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a talk about the owner and, his senility that he's living. But you know what? I'm not a psychiatrist and I sure as hell don't want to be one. So we're going to continue with our stories because that is like a whole segment we could have on its own. James Cook sat out first day of practices of Buffalo Bills training camp. Why? He wants to be paid. Shocking, right? The last two just want to be paid. You know what? I can jump on James Cook's back. I'm all right with that. He had 16 touchdowns last year. He had over 1,000 yards again for consecutive back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Like, he's entering 25. He has lock him in. That's your running back, guys. He's your man. He's your franchise running back. I think he can handle it just fine because that team is built tough and he plays in very tough weather and the expectations of basically a mafia behind you is what it sounds like. Yeah, I think he'll be just fine. Pay the man 15 mil, get him in the top 5 of... You're not going to get Saquon Barkley money. I'm going to bust your bubble on that, James Cook. You're not going to get Saquon Barkley money. But you can get a nice, healthy 15 mil a season. Because him and Derrick Henry set the new bar of 20. You ain't getting 20, but I think 15 would be fair for James Cook. So hopefully they get that shit settled out and done and dealt with for him. Dolphins have signed defensive tackle Zeeler to a 3-year extension, 67.7 with 44 guaranteed. This is good for the Dolphins. So at least they lock up one piece of a defense that used to be a top 10 squad. They lost both safeties in this last offseason, right? Traded Ramsey, lost whatever the hell his other name was. That's why they called them the no-name defense. I knew Jalen Ramsey and like maybe 2 other guys on there, Kyle Phillips and Zeeler now. But they were dominant for quite a few years. And now at least they lock in, you know, a nice key piece on the defensive line, plug the hole, right? Take 3 guys, let the defensive end get a goddamn sack on his one-on-one. So there's nothing wrong with this signing. The guy has back-to-back 10-sack seasons. He plugs the hole just fine. So as long as and you know what? Let's not forget though, the Dolphins did get back Micah Fitzpatrick this offseason with the trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had been injury prone to some extent, but he's still, you know, he put in some All-Pro and Pro Bowl seasons there, so let's not count him out. He might have a regenerative season down in Miami. He won't be playing in the goddamn cold. So maybe this trade works out for both of those teams, right? The Falcons signed Caleb McGarry to a 2-year, $30 million extension. The 30-year-old has been the right tackle for the Falcons for the last 7 seasons plus. Nothing wrong with that. They're just taking care of business, locking in their guys, protecting their quarterback. Now here's the story. Here's what we'll discuss. Sean Payton and the Broncos. So the last thing I want to read off here is his quote to the recent reporter that he talked with was, the short-term goal is win the division, and that's where we'll start. So you got to beat the Chiefs. I think it's doable this year. I think it could happen this year, honestly, because in that interview report, Payton went on to say that he, in his coaching career, he's had about 7 times, and 6 of them that he talked about were where the team either won the Super Bowl or went to the playoff, you know, deep in the playoffs, or at least made the playoffs, right? So at least he has that feeling, that gut feeling of going to the playoffs. He says this year is the 7th. Okay, well, let's assess that. Well, you got a top 10 defense, top 5 defense really from last year that only got better, right? You signed Hafnaga, you signed Greenlaw for defense. You've locked in Zach Allen, Patrick Surtain on contract extensions this offseason. All they've done is lock in their key stars and upgraded at positions that really didn't need much upgrading. And they were able to do that. Why? Bo Nix's rookie contract. They are taking they're pennying right to the fucking wall. Their foot is on the gas. Let me tell you this. Right now is a Denver Broncos 3 to 4 year perfect Super Bowl window. You have a developing second-year quarterback who really doesn't get sacked, doesn't make very many turnovers. The only turnovers that I noticed in the games I watched, because I watched a lot of Broncos games last year. Why? I had the Broncos defense as a fantasy team. And I had Pat and Cortland Sutton, too. Cortland Sutton hasn't lost a step. That wide receiver group's only going to get better because they're learning under him and only ever improving with the guy they're at camp with every day. Running back J.K. Dobbins. There's another reason. The man rushed for over 1,000+ yards, regenerated his career after promising years in Baltimore, right? Went to the Chargers, revitalized it last year, coming off an injury, but fuck, whatever. He already came off an injury. That's what he was trying to prove, and he still proved it. I think he's going to be just fine there. You have a quality top 10 running back, top 15 running back. J.K. Dobbins can do that. He reminds me of just a little pinball, bouncing off everything, and then he's gone. So no, I think the Broncos are just fine. You still got McLaren as your backup running back. He might even challenge for starter. Honestly, that's why they only upgraded the positions they thought they needed to. So if they feel comfortable on offense and Peyton's like, we're good. You listen to the man. He didn't win a Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints for no goddamn reason. And I don't think his bag of tricks is empty either. It's almost the feeling, if you're a Broncos fan right now, you should be feeling this aura of we can take the division now. And I know Chiefs fans and all, you're going to have the Chargers fans and the Raider fans and all that being like, no, you can't. No, you know what? I think in a legitimate world, if we're being realistic, they win division this year. The Raiders have upgraded, but not enough, I don't think. The Chargers, whatever, they're just going to pose a threat. But at the end of the day, you can beat the Chargers. The Chiefs are your real own competition. And I think they're going to lose a step this year. And you're going to see some angry Chiefs games where Patrick Mahomes is going to be a little frustrated. So if you're a Broncos fan, here's the deal. You better be pumped, and you better be locked in this season. Because I'm predicting a damn division win. All right? This is my prediction. We're going to do some predictions now. They're going to win division. At least a one playoff game. Right? But they have the possibility to probably be in the AFC title game, honestly. It could be a Bills-Broncos rematch from this year's wild card as the AFC title game. That could happen. The stats just don't. If it doesn't happen, I will actually be a little shocked. Because everything just on paper is lined up so perfect. And I know we say that every year about certain teams. And it's like, oh, they had a great roster on paper, but then whatever, the Chiefs win or some random team out of nowhere. Like the Eagles just locked in. And they took control of their own destiny last year. And they didn't look back. So at this point, though, I think the Broncos are serious in how they're thinking. Their culture right now is, we are a championship team. Now let's go prove it. And that can be said about a lot of teams, but you have to start somewhere. And they did. Right? Year one. You brought in Russ Wilson. Didn't work out. Still stayed competitive. You seen what you had. All right, year two blueprint. Got your quarterback. Has a good rookie year. Defense under Vance Joseph. It looks good. We're back to top 5D. Year three. We have all this money. They went and they had a feasting day. And they gave extensions out. They are locked in for the next 3 to 5 years as a championship possible winning team. So take that as you will. That's going to be it for today, though, as that is the end of the show here at the BearDown Corner. I'm Sergeant Cornholio. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch us live every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock General Mountain. You all have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you the next time.